The Chicago Bulls have a golden opportunity to find some real stars with Matas Buzelis and Ayo Dosunmu. We're going to be talking about what their impact can be on the Chicago Bulls this upcoming season and the future for the Chicago Bulls as they continue to go ahead and try to build out and retool this roster. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today we are going to be talking about two players that I am looking forward to seeing in today's game against the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think that both of these players have a real chance to not just be impactful this season, but I think really become some real stars / superstars and building block pieces for these Chicago Bulls. And I want to start with Ayo Dosunmu. And I am going back. I've looked at an article back in 2023. And this is why I am super high on Ayo Dosunmu. This is why I think that he is going to absolutely be a star. And so you can find this article out there. This was written and it's on The Athletic. And it was Darnell Mayberry who did this. Once again, it is 2023. And this talks about Ayo Dosunmu, and he vows to rise above the backcourt logjam. I've always found a way. And this is significant because what are we facing this season? What did I talk about with Billy Donovan? He talks about having this log jam of guards. And Ayo Dosunmu, once again, he has to go to the bench and he's going to have to figure out a way to find minutes and really rise to the occasion. And this is why I think that Ayo Dosunmu is primed to really make it happen this year and really cement himself into a bigger role for this team. Because when you look at these quotes, you get a chance to really understand just how Ayo Dosunmu attacks every day as a Chicago Bull, and this is why you love it. And so this is one of the things that he talked about going into this particular season. He had just signed his new contract back in 2023, but he says, look, I've always wanted to come out here and compete. And he says anybody who says they don't want to start, they would not be telling the truth, but that's something that will be taken care of in training camp. That's the type of mindset that I believe Ayo Dosunmu attacks with every time. And I think that this is why he is going to put some real pressure on this starting lineup because he can play offense and he's gotten better there. But defense has been the calling card for him. And I've compared a little bit of the path of Jimmy Butler and him starting off like that defensively. And I think that Ayo Dosunmu certainly, he really has the same type of, comparison career-wise as far as the projection. And I think that he can get there. I think that if you give this young man some more minutes, I absolutely think that he can be an impactful player. And I think that he is going to be looked at as a franchise piece for this team. I think that, between Kobe White, between Ayo Dosunmu, Matas Buzelis, these are players that the Bulls are absolutely going to rely on as they continue to build out this team. And I think that Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry are not too far behind them. Now, another thing that Ayo talked about in this particular piece too as well is he's like, I'm going to find a way, right? That's all I can say is I've always found a way. I'm going to continue to find a way. Whenever we've talked about Matas Buzelis and we've talked about the fact that, he doesn't necessarily have the skill and he's raw and all these things like that. And he's even said that, hey, I need to develop more. This is, I think, the type of mindset that these players have. And I think it's that it factor that it's something that you just can't measure that. And this is why I believe that Ayo Dosunmu is primed to go ahead and make that jump with Matas because of this type of mindset, the fact that they are just going to find a way. And I think that that is what you saw in Cleveland in the first game. When he came off the bench, he wanted to find a way to be impactful, and he was impactful everywhere out there. You could feel the energy. You could feel the defense switch. You also could see that he was knocking down some big shots. Same for Matas Buzelis coming off the bench. He felt like he could compete with anybody out there, and that's what you want with some Bulls that you're trying to build with. And so next up, as we continue on, this goes into what Billy Donovan had to say, and this is after that Cleveland Cavaliers game. He acknowledged acknowledge the fact that Ayo is a very good defender and the fact that he is going to have to try to find pairs to go with him or lineups to go with him. And I love how this article ends when it talks about the fact that, look, as the season gets closer and the competition is going to heat up, I think that Ayo Dosunmu is going to be one of those players that at the end, he is going to rise out of this thing. And when we look at it statistically and we get ready to go inside the numbers, look, Ayo Dosunmu, I think out of his last 15 games, he scored 20 in the last 15 games that he had. He increased his 3-point percentage all the way up to about 39.4% last year. And then when you look at his defensive rating, he was 116. And I believe as far as like steals generated or something like that, I believe only Patrick Williams has more than him. And so he's already coming into this season just behind Patrick Williams. I have to think that with the start that he's had thus far in the preseason, he is going to take off. And you have to believe that he is going to put pressure on Josh Giddey. He's going to put pressure on a Zach Lavine. And I think he's waiting in the wings, because if Zach Lavine is traded, then I think that naturally Ayo Dosunmu could move into this role. And then also too, if Giddey struggles, then I could see that Ayo Dosunmu with his game could move up, because he is a 3-level scorer who defends at a high level. And as we look into the numbers and just look at how good Ayo Dosunmu has been, I mean, yes, you see that, yes, he just had the 12.2 points per game, the 2.8 rebounds a game, the 3.2 assists. But I could see all these numbers rising up. I could definitely see him being anywhere from a 15 to an 18 point per game scorer. I absolutely think he can create at least 5 assists or more. And I do believe the steals would go up. Talked about how the 3-point percentage is going up. One of the things that Billy Donovan talks about is he is doing a better job at closing out, or attacking closeout, And then just to piggyback off of the defensive rating where he's at 116, I think that the average is maybe right around 110 or something like that for the defensive rating. And I think historically, one of the best defensive rating seasons that there's possibly been in quite some time was Ben Wallace, who had a rating of 87.4, which is pretty ridiculous. But anyhow, I think that he can definitely improve that rating as the minutes continue to go along. So that leads me to the next point, and that is Matas Buzelis. I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing him against the Memphis Grizzlies today. I've talked about how I want to see if he gets matched up against Zach Edey and how he attacks him on the offensive and the defensive end if they match up against each other. But anyhow, the question is, could Matas Buzelis take Patrick Williams' minutes? And so, look, I know it's game 1 of preseason, and I know that Patrick Williams has been here and everything else, but I'm along the lines of just about everybody else. I think that this is a no excuse tour for Patrick Williams. And I've said he's going to have all the opportunity that he wants, but it is all about him going out there and seizing it. And I hope that he does take that next step today. I think he was a bit rusty in game 1, so I will give him that. And I'm hoping that he comes out and he becomes a bit more aggressive, because just like I had thrown up some quotes here with Ayo Dosunmu and talking about just going out there, really seizing the moment, wanting to be a starter, wanting to be the guy, I think that Matas Buzelis has that type of confidence, and he has that type of it factor, which he is going to challenge Patrick Williams or whoever is in the way to start. And so just looking at what Matas Buzelis did in game 1, 12 points, 5 rebounds and 3 assists. He was everywhere, but more importantly, you will see a lot of his defensive highlights, blocking Darius Garland, one of the more shiftier guards in the NBA, going toe-to-toe with Donovan Mitchell, staying out there with, Evan Mobley. That's what you love about him. And so I am curious to see, is he going to take another step here today against the Memphis Grizzlies, along with Ayo Dosunmu, to really put pressure on this starting lineup, really put pressure onto Billy Donovan, because I think that these two players, along with Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, these guys have taken it serious, And look, Billy Donovan has said, look, we're not just going to give people minutes. They're going to have to earn it. I think that these guys have gone into the summer. They've definitely put in the work. And the one thing that I do love about Ayo Dosunmu is that he is one of the ones, along with Kobe White, who went ahead and they put together that mini camp in Miami for the players to get together and, you know, go out there and hoop. And then also, too, some of the off the court stuff that they did, whether it's the roller coasters and stuff like that. So that is the leadership qualities that you love about Ayo Dosunmu. And lastly, the one thing I will say about this, too, is that article, one thing he leads off with, too, before he goes into those powerful quotes about playing the game, is he was actually throwing a block party at his hometown in Chicago. And he's talking about that regardless if he was with the Chicago Bulls or not, he would do that. And I really believe that how you do one thing is generally how you do everything. And it is that type of leadership, that type of consistency that I would love to have on my basketball team any day of the week. So definitely looking forward to seeing Ayo Dosunmu out there. Let me know in the comments what you are thinking. Do you think the Chicago Bulls have a golden opportunity with Matas Buzelis and Ayo Dosunmu? Or do you think it is other players that are set to have a bigger season and really rise into a big role for the Chicago Bulls this upcoming season? I just want to thank everybody out there for liking, subscribing to the videos. It means a lot as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. I want to let you know that 64.2% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for me. And look, even though it is preseason game number 2 and it is just preseason, I'm still getting hype and I'm still saying go Bulls. And I'll see you guys on the next one. We'll be talking a little post game. All right, take care.